Hello guys, my name is Gabriel Roberts from Roberts Bushcraft. Today I'm going to be talking about a very important topic in the camping outdoor world, and that is hammocks. They are a very neat invention and they work great for what we like to do, and that is having a good, comfortable night of sleep. Let's get right into it. Now for this demonstration I'm going to be using the Grand Trunk Skeeter Beater Pro. Hammock Dad and I both love and have used for a long time. Now one of the big advantages to using a hammock, in my opinion, is that you get this nice bug net up top, this no-seam mesh. And honestly, when you're doing like a summertime camp, you can set this thing up right so when you get wind blowing under you, it's cooling you off, as well as the wind coming through this mesh, but you don't get any of the bugs, and that's very nice. And you can really run this thing where it's almost like an air conditioning unit in a way, because it's cooling you off underneath and on top. But there's also ways to set this thing up so during wintertime camping you don't feel any of that wind at all. So taking a look inside, you'll see right off the bat the United States Marine Corps' new and improved IBC. Now, you might be wondering why I would keep a bivy cover on inside of the hammock. Now what I'm showing you right now is how I would run this thing winter time. So let's say at freezing temperatures and below. So 32 degrees and below, we'll call that wintertime temperatures for us. Why would I run the bivy cover? This bivy cover will actually add an extra layer of warmth to your sleeping system, or it actually, really what it does is help retain the heat that is produced inside of your sleeping bag. So it just adds one extra wall of protection against the heat escaping from your system and from your body. Now inside of this, of course, I'm running the extreme cold weather bag. This thing is really good, and you could run this by itself if you're not in really cold temperatures. Inside of the extreme cold weather bag, I've got the 3-season bag. And this thing is awesome as well. Now, one thing you might not would think to throw in here, but it's actually a great addition, and it really helps out, is a simple poncho liner. Or if you have like a micro fleece, something like that, this is like a fleece blanket, throw it in there, add a lot of warmth to you. And especially if you have a spot like maybe around your feet, something like that, it actually helps out a lot. Now another thing that I found out with camping in the winter, Dad and I kind of discovered this at the same time. Those reusable hand warmers from Zippo. Put that thing down by your feet and it feels like a furnace. I mean, it is the way to go. Just take my word for it. Put a Zippo hand warmer down there at the bottom, and it's completely safe because it's covered and there's no way of anything catching on fire, of course, or I wouldn't do it. But that thing keeps you nice and warm. Now, you might would think that's it right here, but I've actually got one more thing for inside of this for winter camping. That's my Nemo pillow. Guys, this pillow is the best $40 I've ever spent. Let me tell you, I thought at the beginning, $40 sounds like a lot of money for a pillow. But how much do you value a good night of sleep? I value it $40 worth, that's for sure, because this thing is the way to go. Don't buy any of the $15, $20 pillows, because they sound good, they look good, but they're not good. As Dad found out, the Nemo pillow is the way to go for back sleepers, and the Climate Drift, it's a memory foam pillow, that's the way to go for side sleepers. Don't go cheap on a pillow, get a good one. Now, that's it for the sleeping system, but down below, and I guess you can include this as part of the sleeping system, just a Thermarest sleeping pad. Now, you're 100% definitely going to want a sleeping pad down below you wintertime. Wintertime, you have that frigid air coming underneath you, and that gets really cold, and even with a bivy, poncho liner, complete system, if you don't have some kind of protection up underneath you like a sleeping pad, it's not going to be a comfortable night of sleep. I've just got an old Thermarest self-inflating pad here. These are have a reflective value, very good. They'll reflect the heat back up to you, and they'll prevent heat from being drawn out and sucked out by that really cold wind. Let's check out my summertime loadout. Okay, so rolling right in for a summertime loadout. Just got the 3-season bag from that improved system. Nemo pillow. Guys, if you have not gathered anything else from this video, I want you to walk away knowing that you absolutely have to buy a pillow. If I can recommend one piece of sleeping gear, well, it would probably be a sleeping pad, but a very close second is going to be a good camping pillow. I never knew how much I needed one of those until I finally bought one. Now, you'll notice for a summertime loadout, I've still got that insulated sleeping pad, and you might be wondering, why in the world would you do that? Now, even on a 70-degree night, that cool wind blowing up under you can, guys, let me tell you, it can make a very uncomfortable night of sleep. Now, if you have a a self-inflating pad like this that is reflective and it's going to keep you warm. Now, you might think that's going to keep you too warm, but I've also got a solution for that. Now, if you remember what was inside of this for my cold weather camping kit, it was the Whoopee. The Whoopee is a game changer, because all I have to do, let's say I'm getting too hot using this system right here with the 3-season and the thermal sleeping pad here. All I have to do is just slip out of that 3-season, push it down towards the edge, and pull this poncho liner out. And then again, if I'm getting too hot doing that, I can always come out of the poncho liner. Guys, I would always rather be too warm than too cold. Too warm, I can take layers of clothing off. Too cold, well, I didn't bring enough gear. And I don't want that to happen to me out in the woods or anywhere, really. I want to be prepared as I can get. And even just running a poncho liner, sleeping pad, and pillow still creates a very, very nice night of sleep. And all that gear fits perfectly inside of my United States Marine Corps 3-day assault pack. Now, The great part about the system, how I'm kind of using it here, is it's very modular. And what I mean by that is it's got a lot of different pieces that I can take apart and shift around how I need to use it. So there's a few more points I'd like to touch on before I sign off, and that's the main question here. Why would you choose a hammock over, say, something like the Katoma bed net or a tent, ICS 2000, teacup? Why would you choose a hammock? The main reason for me and Dad, when you go back, watch a number of old videos, you'll see us hammock camping a lot. We like it because it's easy to set up and it's extremely comfortable. It's so comfortable. I mean, the amount of work that you put in to the night of sleep that you get out of it, it's just amazing. It takes barely any time to set up at all, even with a hammock like this that has a bug net on it. And then, of course, you get that great night of sleep. When you really figure out how to hang your hammock, if you like your head higher than your feet, if you like to sleep at a diagonal, if you like to have a pillow under your knees, stuff like that. Once you get that figured out, you can have a extremely comfortable night of sleep out of a hammock. Some of the most comfortable nights, in my opinion, out there in the woods have been spent in this thing right here. So honestly, that's the main push for me to switch to a hammock to go camping in. Now, of course, there are some downsides, and that would be it requires trees or something to tie up to in order to hang the hammock. Obviously, you can't put a hammock on the ground if you don't have trees to tie it to, or poles or something. It's not going to work. Another thing, you don't have as much space on the inside. So if you think of like a tent, you've got plenty of space to put your pack and your other gear. In a hammock, you'd either have to set it up underneath you. Let's say you're running an A-frame tarp over top of you. You have to have it under you or down by your feet, something like that. You have to work that out. But in my opinion, the pros far outweigh the cons. Again, pros being you have that great bug net up top, keeps the bugs out, lets the wind in. It's great to cool off in because you can get that air underneath you. Of course, if you wanted to take that sleeping pad out, have that air underneath you, air on top of you. Like I mentioned earlier, it's like an air conditioning, guys. And again, using the system like I'm using, it's a very modular piece of gear. You'll see guys on the internet, they'll go down into the negatives with a hammock, and because they're using an underquilt and all that. We simply don't get those kind of temperatures here, so I don't have to worry about all that. But running the sleeping pad and the extreme cold weather system, that's it works perfect here. And again, a lot of that's dependent on what I'm wearing. Normally I'm going to be going to sleep in a t-shirt and some shorts, something like that. Normally a pair of socks on too when I'm out camping, in the wild. And really, if I were to change my clothing up, the Marine Corps says that once you layer up correctly and you put a happy suit on, you can really go down to some extreme temperatures with the system I'm using. And of course, I could always add degrees just by changing the clothing up. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But you see the contrast there of the summer and the winter setups for me. Winter, of course, it's more beefed up. Summertime, I really only need a poncho liner and the sleeping pad. But again, I would always rather have more than not enough. You can always take a pair of pants off. You can always take that sleeping bag off. But if you left it at home, you're going to be wishing you had it. So hopefully that was a nice thought-provoking video for you guys. Hopefully it got you thinking about your summer setup. And hey, drop a comment down below. Do you like my summer setup? What would you change? Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Hit that applaud button if it's on your heart. I sure do appreciate it. As always, may the wings of liberty never lose a feather. And God bless.